Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope y'all are doing fantastic, guys. Welcome to the week of the premiere of Big Brother 23. Woo! Oh, I'm so excited. I hope y'all are too. Before we get into that, let me just say, SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love all the Big Brother fans of the world. And I'm really loving this cast, and I'm really loving this house as well. I'm getting so excited, guys. It's going to be a great week. I'm certainly looking for. It's like Christmas time for us Big Brother fans, right? Y'all know me. Most nights I come in here, I got a whole little list of notes. Movie I've watched, things like that. What I've binged on TV, this date in history. I really don't have a whole lot of that because I really am thinking we'll just talk Big Brother tonight as we get ready for the show itself. And I want to get y'all's thoughts. I got a few of them as well, but I'm open to questions also. So y'all fire away and let's talk us a little Big Brother this evening. Let me look at this real quick. All y'all out there, Dawn, Parker, Chris. Thank you, Chris, Cliff, and Donnie for Amazing Race. I would love to do Amazing Race with Donnie. I want to meet Donnie. I haven't met him yet, and I'm really looking forward to. Cross track as well. Let's see. Have your dad staying with you? I hope y'all are all doing great. Amanda, Cindy, Anthony, Ma, all my friends. I had Jeffrey as well. Amanda, Hayden, Brian Hosteller, Joshy P. All y'all guys, welcome. Where do we even start? All right, before we do that, as we got a few people still straggling in, I will throw out one little quick this day in history kind of thing for y'all. Let me take you back to an earlier time. July 5th, 1994. A little company started up on that day. Do y'all know what the company was? It started up just, 27 years ago? Amazon. Amazon started this day in 1994. Now, when they first started, all they were selling is books. And we're not talking ebooks or anything else. We're talking about the made out of paper, and you order it, you carry it to the beach or whatever, those kind of books. That's how Amazon started. Who would have thought that 27 years later, what did I say? 27 years later, they take over the world. Isn't that amazing? So congrats to Jeff Bezos. Shove a little of that money my way, my friend, if you would. But yeah, so 27 years ago, Amazon started up, and no one expected that it would do anything the way it did now. Thank God for Amazon. I can go out there. I can do Christmas shopping. I can do birthdays. During COVID especially, what a godsend Amazon was. So thank you for that. I'm glad we got it. All right, now, that being said, let's just... Ma saying, I thought Amazon was founded later in July. Ma, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe they set up on July 5th and they sold the first book a little bit later. I don't know. I wasn't involved in the process back then. But we'll have that. Angie saying you're not going to have time to watch Big Brother this season. Well, Angie, I hate to hear that, but guess what? You can come out here and check. I think I'm going to be doing my Cliff Notes, the morning recaps. I almost said it the wrong way, didn't I? The morning recaps. I'm going to try to give it 15 minutes just to go over everything that happened the night before so people can at least get up to speed a little bit when they go to work and go to school, talking to their friends about maybe what happened overnight. So I'll stay up so y'all don't have to. And Angie, I'm sure there'll be plenty of places to get updates. So I feel like you and I'll still be able to talk Big Brother along with everybody else. Cindy saying, my daughter wants to live in the new BB house. I do too. I thought it was a pretty cool house. Have y'all seen it? It just came out. I guess it was just today. I've been seeing some pictures come across. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I like the house. I got to say, last season, I love my house. Big Brother 21. I love the camp theme. I mean, look at me. That's kind of who I am. I love the camp theme that we had there. Last season, I felt like the house was a little too bright, a little too stark. It would have just not been very relaxing for me. But looking at the house this season, it looks cool. It looks very relaxing. In fact, let's just go and talk about the house now. I was going to talk about the cast, but we can do that in a little bit. Shoot, as many changes as we're getting in the cast. Y'all let me know over the next hour. There may be something else for all I know. We'll see. Paula is saying, which bedroom would you pick this time, with a door or not? That's a tough one, Paula. There's different ideas on how you would do it. When I went into the house, if y'all remember, I was the last group of 8 to go in. And by the time I got in there, the beds were pretty much already all claimed. So I didn't have much chance to pick out which bed I wanted. I ended up in a target room, and that was fine. But I didn't have a lot of say in it. But from a strategy standpoint, I've always thought that the room in my season is outside the RV. In this case, it's I think they're calling it the sea glass room. It's kind of a curvy room with some kind of elliptical looking mattress. It's a cool looking room. That one, if you're in that room, you can see everything else that goes on. You can see anyone who gets up in either of the other two bedrooms. If they disappear to head upstairs to the HOH room, you know it. So there's something to really be said about being in that bedroom. But those other two bedrooms, if you're not staying in them, then it makes it a lot tougher to justify going into that room if you want to see who's talking, doing whatever. So you can see everything if you're in the sea glass room, but it also makes it a little tougher for you to listen in and maybe see what's going on in those other rooms. I know Andy Herron and one or two others have said in the past that they would try to put a few random items in each of the bedrooms. So if they needed to figure out who was in there, who was talking, they could just walk in and say, oh, sorry, I left my tumbler in here. I just want to get my tumbler. Give them a reason to do it. That's a pretty smart idea. But I'll tell you this much. In terms of all the rooms in this house, now, obviously, I'd like to be in the HOH room every single week. Yeah, there's something to be said for that, but not the way it works. From an absolutely no strategy, just which room do I think is the most cool room? I kind of like that yacht room. The one that's got all the, I guess, the ropes and everything up above. It's a very calm room. It looks quiet. It looks comfortable. And I also know that room's not too bad in terms of getting super hot in the middle of the night. That used to drive me crazy. It was so hot sometimes. It's just miserable in some of those rooms. That bedroom wasn't so bad. So I would probably take that room from a pure comfort standpoint. Now here's another thing I'd consider in terms of why maybe I would take the reef room, and that's the room that's got the big piece of coral in the middle of it. Now, and y'all hear me out on this one. When I got into that house, I knew that every once in a while, maybe I would snore just a little bit. And the idea that I'm bundled up with a whole lot of other people, I thought, man, they're going to boot me out of the house just because I snore. What a horrible reason to get kicked out of the house, right? So because of that, the reef room, it looks like all four beds kind of point towards the center of the room. I assume unless you're weird, your feet are going to be pointing towards the inside, right? I don't have them all their heads towards the inside. Seems like everyone's a little too close for comfort, in my opinion. So I would assume feet towards the middle, which means that someone like old Boss Hogg, my head's as far away from the other people as you could possibly get in that room. So from a snoring standpoint, that may be a advantageous position. Maybe for my own personal reasons, I would have picked the coral room instead. So I feel there's 3 bedrooms downstairs. I feel like I've given y'all 3 answers so far. So I don't know. I don't know, Paula, which one I would take. I don't know. At the end, I think I'd probably take that sea glass on the outside just because so you can watch everyone. I think that's the best way to go. And then we do have the HOH room upstairs. I liked our HOH. That's the only room that I'm kind of like, the HOH room just seems a little sterile. Not a whole lot of decorations. Very plain. Doesn't mean I wouldn't still want to be in there, but yeah, that was kind of, it was just kind of okay room. Nothing special to it, but it's still pretty cool. Now, the room that we haven't seen yet in terms of sleeping arrangements, no mention of the have-not room. Remember in our season, it was Camp Castaway, and then it was I don't remember what we called it after that, but it was the old broken down cots and everything. I never had to stay there since I was never a have-not. But they didn't show that at all. I assume we'll have have-nots again this year of some form or manner, although as horrible as people did with the slop last season, at some point, does that thing just go away? And we only had it for 2 weeks during my season. So I don't know if we'll have have-nots or not, but I assume that room's going to be used for something, and we'll see what it is. And finally, I've got one other room that's not really a bedroom, but it doesn't look too bad. Did y'all see some of those chairs in the bathroom? I guess they're calling it the spa this year. There's some nice little comfortable couch type chairs in there that you would see at a spa. That maybe wouldn't be a bad place to relax. I'm not sure Big Brother would let you sleep in the bathroom. They normally are pretty strict, saying you can't sleep on the floor, you can't sleep on the couches, you have to sleep in one of the bedrooms. And that probably applies here as well. And I'm not sure I'd want to actually sleep in there and have people going in there and going to the bathroom all night long. Probably not from a location standpoint the best, but they look kind of comfortable. And you certainly would be away from everyone else and get a little more, not privacy because there are people coming in all night long, but at least you get a little quiet, more quiet times in terms of a lot of other people sleeping in there. at the same time, right? That's lots of thinking that goes into to these decisions. And that's what's great is right now, there are 16, well, there may be 17 or 18 once you figure the alternates, but all of these house guests are getting ready to go in the house in the next day or two. They are all sitting in sequester somewhere, going over every one of these little fine points in their head, saying, what am I going to do when I first get in? What kind of bed am I going to grab? Who am I going to try to sleep up against? Or all these considerations, because I did every bit. While I was waiting to go in the house, suddenly you realize that, oh my gosh, I'm going in 48 hours. Oh my gosh, it's 24 hours and I'm going to be inside the house. And everything starts speeding up real fast. And you start thinking about every tiny little detail of, how am I going to remember everyone's names? Am I going to try to make eye contact and try to create something as soon as I look in that house and as soon as I see the first couple of people? Or am I going to play a little more chill and see who comes to me? All those little considerations that start running through your mind. And before you know it, your brain is going 100 miles an hour. You can't stop, and you don't stop for 3.5 months later. It's full speed the entire way through. All right, let's see. Let me look at a couple of these comments before we start talking more about it. Let's see. All right, then. So what are y'all thinking? What's y'all's favorite rooms? I've sitting here talking away. I'm curious to see what y'all think from a strategy standpoint. See what y'all think from just a aesthetic standpoint. Which one looks the most cool? I gotta say, that one, the coral reef with the coral right in the middle, it looks cool, but someone's gonna crash into that thing at some point and get all kinds of scrapes and bruises and everything else. It's just, and hide and go veto, I'm not sure how it's going to work in that house. I didn't see a whole lot of hiding spots, but I already was watching to see if I was in the house where I would be hiding my vetoes. L. Richardson saying, did you see the door to the close off the kitchen hallway to the lounge? I did. They actually changed up the, sorry guys, I think my comments, I'm way behind y'all for some reason for this showing up. No, they actually changed the floor plan a little bit of the house. During my season, we had the boat room, and we had the eavesdroppers. I love that room with kind of the boat that was a bed shaped in the boat. That's where I hung out in the mornings and drank my coffee. Well, no more of that, because they got rid of that room and they turned it into an indoor gym. And this is the other big thing, if y'all haven't seen it. Instead of having a door going into the gym or what used to be the boat room in my season, now the door actually starts before you get to the gym and the bathroom. So now if you were in the kitchen, you can't see who's in the bathroom versus who's in the gym. It's a little tougher to keep track. You could sit in the kitchen and look at mirrors that would bounce all the way around and see who were in the bedrooms, kind of see who was going in and out of the bedrooms, the storage room. You could also look in the mirrors and see who was behind you in the bathroom, who was going into the boat rooms. You really could monitor everything from one or two spots in the kitchen. No more. With that door there, it means that now you won't know for certain who's really in there going to the bathroom or showering, who's gone over to the gym and is visiting, who's in there just talking away. It's going to be different. It doesn't look to me like you've got quite as much room in the downstairs area for conversations. And maybe it's just because in my season, we had that downstairs boat room where people hung out so much just talking throughout the day. And now instead it's going to get pushed into the bathroom a little bit. And maybe that's good, because you'll always have a reason that you can you can go into the bathroom at any time and say, oh, I'm sorry guys, I didn't know y'all were in here talking. I just need to go to the bathroom. They'd be saying, yeah, you've come in here and go to the bathroom every 15 minutes for the last 3 hours, Cliff. Well, yeah, I'm an old guy. So yeah, I got a reason to do it. But no, it's going to be a little harder to keep track of people with that doorway that's right there. But it'll change things up a little bit. And there's a few people who are super fans in there. Claire is a new replacement. Frenchie's a super fan. They're going to see that doorway and they're immediately going to start wondering, what in the heck is going on? Brian asked a question, was anyone an alternate on your season? Yeah, Brian, we had an alternate of our own. Christy was an alternate. And I don't even know the whole background, but at one point she thought she was on the show, and then she turned out she was an alternate on the show. And then they went back and forth, and next thing you know, she's on there. How would that season have been different? Because supposedly, and I don't know this except for conversations I've heard, after the fact. But supposedly there was someone else that was supposed to be on the show that was a friend of Kat's, or they knew each other, and she kind of, for whatever reason, they took her off. I guess the word got out that maybe she was going to be on the show. How different would that season have been if instead of Christy and knowing Tommy, if instead it had been someone that knew Kat, and suddenly now you've got Kat and Holly and Kat and Holly and this new person, all three people who all knew each other, and they would have been a tight alliance, and then Tommy wouldn't have had the same connection. The whole season would have changed with the change of just one person. So we're gonna see that happen this year. Who knows how this thing would have happened if we hadn't lost a couple of people that we did lose. So let's see with this. Amanda, did you see Julie's interview with US Weekly? They're going to play in teams. Yeah, let's talk about the twist. Here's what I like about the twist that I've heard so far. There's no day one evictions. There's no day one banishment. Yay! I don't like when someone's game gets shut down that early, because it almost happened to me. But no, I'm happy to see that. Yeah, I did see Julie's interview, and I was excited to see it. For those of you who don't know, and y'all all know, right? But for those of you who don't know, it's going to be in teams. So it sounds like, just like in all the other seasons, we go in groups of 4. Sounds like as soon as a group of 4 goes in, they're immediately going to say, okay, guys, y'all are going to go do a competition, and we're going to see which of y'all wins as captain of this little group. They'll do their competition, become a captain. Julie will then send the next group of 4 in. They'll become a captain, and so on until you have all 16 in the house and you've got 4 captains. Now, there's a couple of things I wonder about that. One, the first group that goes in, it's got to be some kind of timed competition. It's not going to be endurance where they don't know how long it's going to last. It's going to have to be something pretty fast that you can do. But I wonder, is Julie going to tell everyone before they actually go into the house, or are they going to just find out once they get inside? I kind of think she may tell them, because if for no other reason, once the first group of 4 goes in, you're going to have the other 12 people that are sitting around twiddling their thumbs saying, why is it taking so long for them to figure out what bed they want to sleep in, things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they all know beforehand that they're going to have these competitions. The other thing is the first group of 4, I assume, will do their competition, have their winner, and then the next group comes in and on and on. Once your group has finished your competition, are you going to be allowed to watch whoever comes in after you do their competition? Because that may give some information about who the strong players are, who does what well, and all of that. Or are they going to make everyone stay in one room and 4 at a time go into the backyard or somewhere to do the comp? I don't know. I kind of think that may be the case. But anyway, so you're going to get 4 captains. Once you have those 4 captains, then they have to compete in another challenge. I don't know if it'll be the same one as before with some twist turned into it, or it's going to be something like last season where they had to jump across the little bouncing mushroom Mario things or whatever. But you'll have that, and then from that you'll have your HOH. And I got ahead of myself a little bit, because before they have that competition, they're going to have a draft. Everyone, the 4 captains, are going to watch videos from the other people of, I don't know, 90-second video of what they think, how they want to play the game, promoting themselves, some sort, and then they'll take turns picking who they want on their team until you'll have 4 teams of 4 people. So that's going to be kind of fun too, how they make those decisions. Now, I did see a thing today that Julie Chen had mentioned, that the teams are going to have to be 2 men and 2 women. So you can't have one team loading up on guys, another one loading up on women or anything else. So I guess if you won your little group of 4 and you're female, probably the next choice you have to make is for a guy, and then a girl, then a guy, and vice versa. If you're a guy, you have to pick a female first, something like that. So they'll keep the teams balanced. It's gonna be interesting, because if that's the case, I would expect that the alpha males, for example, the ones that you think are just the strong competitors, athletic kind of guys, they'll probably get split up amongst the different teams. I can't see one team is just full of all the strong guys and all of that. I think you'll have a distribution across all teams of the strong guys, the people who may think they're the mental beast and all of that. I think you'll be spread out a little bit. But once they've done that, they've got their teams. Then, as I said, the captains will each compete, and someone's going to be an HOH. Now I heard another thing today, and I don't know if y'all have heard this. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I bet y'all are further more into it. I mean, y'all probably know more than I do on a lot of this stuff. But I've also heard Julie said that once you've got that one person who's the HOH, and that HOH is safe, and the rest of their team is safe for the week. So you'll have 4 people that are safe after night 1. But Julie did say today that there is going to be a lot of risk reward this season. And apparently they're going to give the HOH the chance to double down, to maybe get more protection or get more power or safety, something of that sort. But it comes at a price. And all I could think is, what if they say, oh, you get 2 weeks immunity or something, but in exchange, the rest of your team is vulnerable. The rest of your team can be put up this week or can be sent home or something. I don't know. So then do you betray the rest of your team just to carry you a little further? Or do you say, no, I want to protect my team as long as possible? And I don't know what it's going to be. I don't have a clue, but there's some kind of thing where you're going to be tempted to probably throw other people under the bridge in order for some kind of additional power protection for yourself. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of decisions to be made early in this game. And they keep saying you're going to have to take a lot of risk if you want to really gain that reward. And I love that. I love the tough decision. That's going to be a fantastic part. Joshy's saying there have to be have-nots. There are only 12 beds counting the HOH room. Oh, all right. There you go, Josh. Thank you for, is that it? Let's see. 4 in the archery room. I am back 2 years. 4 in the reef room. 3 beds in the yacht room. 7 beds. I think there were 4 beds in the sea glass room. So does that give us 11? That's 11 beds. So I don't know. Last year they weren't allowed to sleep doubles. Is it 4 beds? I think that's it. 7 plus the ones in the sea glass room. Think of it this way: the 3 in the yacht room, if you double up on each of those, that's 6. The 4 rooms in the coral reef room, if you double up on those, that's another 10 people. Wow. No, that's another 8 people. Me and my math. 8 people there. 6 people in the yacht room, and then it looked like you maybe had 4 beds in the sea glass room. So it depends on what the rules are. I started to say last season with COVID, they weren't allowed to double up in a bed. Everyone had to have their own bed. Not the case in my season. Ovi and I were squeezed up against each other, and everyone else shared a bed for the first week or 2 also. So it depends on what the rules are this season, but yeah, you may have something there, Josh. Now here's the other thing. Typically the have-not room doesn't start off on week number 1. It didn't for us because we had camp come back or battle back and all that. And so we had David and Kimmy and Ovi, and it would have been me if I hadn't come right back up, but sleeping upstairs in what became the have-not room. So I don't know. We'll find out. That's the beauty about Big Brother, is there's just enough change from season to season that we don't really know and until we get going with it. All right, Chris Tyne, the coral room does look pretty. Could be Hurdy, though. I thought it looked kind of cool. That's a weird configuration, though, with all those beds facing in, right? I don't think we've seen that before. And it's like the coral becomes this huge centerpiece. I know, give it about 2 days, and that coral centerpiece is going to be nothing but a sock tree and a clothing tree, and people are going to be hanging up all kinds of stuff on there. And the house looks so pretty right now. 3 days in, it's going to be a mess, especially if they have the first competition or 2 involve slime. Suddenly that nice spa with those white cushions in there, not going to be so white. Just trust me on that. That slime is as slimy as you could imagine. I always watched the old Nickelodeon shows and all that. I thought, it's just colored water. No, it is. It's like dish soap. It is so slippery and it gets everywhere. It's hard to get off. And that spa room is going to look like a rainbow room after the first competition or 2 while they do that. Chris is asking, wonder if you're really a spy for the government, you really know the surveillance techniques. Well, that's the advantage of being in the Big Brother house, where you have nothing to do all day long except wondering, in the words of my friend Kat, wondering which bitches are conspiring against you. You spend all the time wondering who's talking about what and how many times your name may have come up. So yeah, you quickly figure out exactly where you can get in each of those rooms to look through the mirrors and see what's going on. We all did it. And then we had some people in our season, and we'll have this season as well, who really perfected the art of eavesdropping. And of course, The problem with eavesdropping, you can get away with it 90% of the time, but that time or two where you're caught, then no one trusts you anymore, and everyone starts getting a lot more suspicious about it. I know. All right, here's a little secret that y'all probably don't know. I don't know if it's on the live feed. I doubt it. There were people in the target room my season that were talking and talking kind of loud, and I really wanted to know what they were up to. But there were also people in the outside the RV room, so I couldn't just go hold my ear up to the door without them knowing I was eavesdropping. So I actually took a glass and I went into the storage room, which was next to the archery room, and held, just like you see in all the TV shows, I held that glass up to the wall and tried to listen to what was being said. And you know what I heard? I could hear people talking, but it wasn't clear enough for me really to ever pick up. Now, if I'd heard Cliff, then I probably would have understood that or picked that up, but it didn't do me any good. So I abandoned that and said, I'm just gonna have to figure out some other way to do it. But I tried. Yeah, everyone's trying to get any kind of angle while they're in that house. The other thing happens, it's not only monitoring who is in what room, but for how long and how often. I know when I was HOH, Sam came into my room at one point that first night when I'm trying to figure out who to put up. And Sam said, hey, just so you know, Tommy is outside in the lounge and he's monitoring every time someone comes into this room, how long they're in here talking to you, when they leave, because he had come up earlier and then he came up again and Tommy said, oh, you were up here 20 minutes ago, weren't you? And so sure enough, I looked out through the TV and there's Tommy kind of laying low on the couch, but he was keeping track of everyone who was visiting with me that night. So yeah, there's a lot of espionage, a lot of surveillance that takes place in that house because you can't trust anyone. And so that's the result of that. My mom, hey mom, welcome. I think my mom's as excited as I am. My mom wasn't a huge fan of Big Brother. No, she did not like it. She just hadn't really watched it until I got on the show, and then we got her hooked, and now she's as hooked as anyone. Saying a lot of talk went on in the bathroom our season. A whole lot of talking went on in the bathroom, and it was strange because there was a lot of times where I'd say, why are we all in the bathroom watching people go in and out and use the toilet and shower and all of that? It would be so easy to shift this conversation into the living room where you don't have to watch the people go into the bathroom all that. But it never happened, and I don't know. And it happens every year. Now this year's going to be interesting. I don't know if y'all saw, but during my season we had kind of a long round couch in the bathroom. This year they don't have that. They've got the two little lounge chairs, but then they've got two kind of director chairs and two mirrors that go up against one of the outer walls, in addition to the three sinks and the mirrors above those sinks. So suddenly, I know the women on the cast, maybe the guys too. I don't know. There may be some guys doing makeup or something, but I know the people during my season that were always wanting to make sure the makeup was perfect, especially before diary room sessions and live shows and all of that, or sometimes kind of fighting for space in the bathroom because there were only so many mirrors to go around. It's a house with 4,000 mirrors, and but now it was always a little crowded in the bathroom before some of the big parts of the show. So now they got a couple of those director chairs, more mirrors, so everyone's going to have a little more room to operate. Now during my season, because it was so crowded in the bathroom, there were a lot of people. Kat and Holly and Sis are the ones I remember in particular. They would sit in the bedrooms and do their makeup in front of the mirrors and all of that. And nothing wrong with that. But now with a little more room in the bathroom, that I have a feeling you're going to probably see even more talking. I don't know, maybe more talking going on in that room than before. We'll see. I really am curious to see how the new configuration is going to happen. Angie saying she wasn't a fan of Big Brother until season 21. Well, thank you. You picked the right season to start. Now, I know people argue with you and say otherwise or not, but I'm glad you joined in time to watch my season. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jeffrey saying you don't like the idea of the teams in the past, but this year you like it to see how the guests interact. I kind of agree. You know what the difference is? And there's a part of me, when you're a team, it's tough because you suddenly are dependent upon other people for your protection, for your survival. If they screw up, you may go home without a whole lot of it being because of you, but just because of people that didn't do so well. So I agree with you, Jeffrey. The difference this year, and maybe it's the reason you're thinking as well, is this year the producers aren't making these teams ahead of time. It's purely part of the gameplay to have it happen. If you want a team that just is perfect for you, win that captainship, win and draft your team, and you can make it happen. You get a chance to watch the promotional videos, whatever those are going to be, so you get some say in who's getting picked. If you don't want to get picked last, or maybe you do, you control that a little bit with the video that everyone gets to watch of you. Now, that's the other thing. Is everyone going to get to watch these videos, or just the 4 team captains? Because I don't know. Do you say everything that you want to say? I mean, I can picture the producer saying, all right, here's a 90-second video. Do they tell them it's for a draft type situation? You know, sell yourself on here in case someone wants to pick you for their group or something. Or do they just say, tell us about yourself? And I don't know. Because then do you say everything that makes you a fantastic player? Oh, I'm going to be a comp beast. I've got a picture perfect memory. I'm ruthless. I'll stab anyone in the back. I'll do whatever it takes to win. Well, that may make you a strong player when you're talking to the audience, but is that really what you want to say in front of all your other house guests when it comes time to picking someone? And you know, in that situation, you may want to downplay it a little bit. You may want to just say, I'm just here for fun. I don't know. But the team captain may be picking people that he thinks can help the team as much as possible. And I don't know. You're right, Jeffrey. It's going to be fun watching the interactions. It's going to be interesting watching the strategies. It's going to be interesting to see if some people maybe have some captains have different strategies than others. And you may end up with teams that are completely different teams. You may have one team that's 4 very social people, one team that's just the absolute comp beast that look, whoever has the biggest muscles and the biggest endurance. I don't know. That's going to be the fun part. Chris is saying the teams will cut down on strong people against the weaker people that we've seen in the past. I think you're right, because they're going to be spread out, I think. So we won't have all the strong people competing together. Now, here's what I do see and what I fear a little bit. I can see on night 1, because apparently all this is decided on night 1, the first HOH on it. I can see on night 1 that you have an HOH who's been crowned. His 3 teammates are also safe. So that's 4 people that are safe. And I can see that captain finding some other team, someone that he feels like he can, I say he, and that's kind of unfair, he or she. Christy won our first HOH. The team captain, the HOH, is going to find some other group of 4 that they feel like they are most in sync with, or that they have the best chance with. And I really can see 2 teams of 4 coming together saying, let's just align right now. Let's protect each other and pick off these other 8 people first, and then later. So as much as they're trying not to have these super alliances like we've seen in past years, there's still a possibility of that happening. Now, the beauty of it is no matter how those 8 people are going to say, oh yeah, let's work together and save them, you're still going to have people within those groups that are whispering to other teammates and reaching out and creating some of their own deals. And so you'll still have a little going on. This new house guest that just replaced Christy, Claire, I think's her name, super fan. Well, she knows everything about this game, and I'm all for super fans. It's going to be fun to watch how she plays. If she follows a script for some of the more successful players we've seen in the past. But here's the thing about Claire. When I was watching today, she talked about a women's alliance, and she said the only reason a women's alliance hasn't worked in the past is because the right women weren't in the alliance. And she said, I'm sure there's other Black widows in this house, in this house like me. And she said, I'm going to try to get out all the alpha males. So she may be on a team and theoretically aligned with everyone in that group and some other group. But someone like Claire may also be talking to some of the women on the other teams. And so you got kind of these sub-alliances that are overlapping and everything. And that's what's going to make it fun, because at the end, who's your true alliance? The people you work with and the teams are only for the first 4 or 5 weeks, I think. Is that your true alliance, or are you just biding your time and you actually have your other alliance that's just sitting in the background waiting to take over when it needs to? I don't know, but I'm so ready for it. Angie's saying the good thing about teams is the old person isn't necessarily the first target. Here. I agree. there's a lot more chance, I would think, that that the team or two that's in power is going to go out of their way to try to get rid of a strong player from the other team so that they can keep getting the power back and forth. So yeah, why couldn't they do this on my season? I think you're absolutely right, Angie. I would think you're going to go after the stronger players earlier than you would otherwise. But on the other hand, if you get kind of a milquetoast group that no one wants to come out too hard and fast, everyone's willing to sit back, they all may just come together and say, let's just get rid of someone that no one's going to be too offended if they go home. I hope that doesn't happen. I hate saying that, and I don't think it's going to happen. Listening to some of these cast interviews, I don't think those are the kind of personalities that you've got. We've got, who is it? One person, and I should know, is it, I think it was Sarah, who said that she wants to be a floater. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you go in and that's your strategy, own it and take it as far as you can go and win it if you can win it, and more power to you. There's some people that say, I can't stand floaters. You know what? Whatever strategy you think matches up with your character and gives you the chance to get farthest, there's no rules in the game. Not really. So if Sarah wants to be a floater, go for it. But other than Sarah, sounds like a lot of other people in this house really they're going to come out with guns a-blazing and ready to take action. And that's what we want to see. Inside the house, not so much. But as a viewer watching it on TV, let the chaos begin, right? I'm so happy for this season. Paul is asking, any thoughts about who you think might be the leaders from the cast list? I don't know, Paul. And I guess it depends. Are you talking about leaders as in the team captains, or just the natural born leaders who everyone's going to look towards in terms of advice or trusting, things like that? Because the team leaders, it kind of depends on what kind of competition it is, right? I mean, if it's hanging from a rope, you're going to have different leaders than if it involves rolling a ball down a ramp. I'd be the leader in that one. So yeah, we don't know. But in terms of leaders, there's some people like Xavier, 27, an attorney. I think this guy's going to go far. I think he's got to be brilliant as an attorney, right? I shouldn't say that. I've met a few attorneys that weren't necessarily so brilliant, but smart. And he looks like he's got you look at him, he just looks like the guy that he has that look about him. I think he's going to do great in this game. I think people are going to look to him from a leadership role. So yeah, Paula, maybe someone like Xavier. I could see him certainly gaining trust from a lot of people. Who else? It's so early. There's people. Derek Frazier. We might as well talk about the cast as we're going through. Derek Frazier. As soon as I saw this cast list released, Derek, he just seems fun, right? He just even seeing his picture. Maybe it's the fact that Derek, he's got a little more of a dad bod. I can relate to Derek a little bit, so he immediately becomes one of my favorites. And then when I hear him talking and just how much fun he sounds like he is, Derek's going to be a blast. I think he's going to have fun in the house. Who else? Frenchie. And Frenchie follows me on Instagram and everything, and we posted comments back and forth once or twice a few times. So I think Frenchie surprise people. I think Frenchie's going to do well also. I think I'm pretty sure he's ex-military, so athletically and everything else, he's a farmer. I think he's going to do as well. I don't know. That's a thing. Yes, we've seen some interviews, and I've seen some of them, and I've seen the pictures and all that. But when you're talking characters and leadership roles and all that, it's so tough to make judgments when we know so little. But we'll know within the first few hours. I think as soon as they get in the house. I mean, I'm seeing a few people whose character traits kind of show through. Brittany, I think Brittany is going to be one of those that people either love or not love so much. She's just so full of energy. Every time I see her, I get Tommy vibes, Tommy Bracco vibes. She's just kind of seems like maybe she's going to be one of these Energizer bunnies that's always just happy and cheerful and full of fun. So, and I love having that in the house. So I think she's going to be fun as well. But there's a lot of people in the house. I just don't. Travis, I know people are kind of saying, oh, he's the what's the word you use? Alpha male, or the bro brother. The stereotype we see every season a little bit, and maybe so. But again, he may completely surprise us, and that's what I look forward to. Is the people that we are making judgments, analysis, and even people criticizing some of the people in this house with so little information that we've got right now. And I so love the idea that some of these people are going to come in for better or for worse. We'll see it both ways, but they're going to completely surprise us and completely blow away all our judgments that we made, and show how wrong you are to judge too early, too prematurely. I felt like some of that happened with me before I went into the house. Now, I didn't see it until I got out, obviously, but I feel like people were making assumptions about the kind of person I was going to be based on my age, where I live, my profession, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of like to think that for a lot of those people, I proved them wrong to some degree. And I'm looking forward to everyone out here who's going to do the same thing. Every year there's people that you say, oh, I love this person, they are so great. And 3 or 4 weeks in, you say, the quicker they're booted, the better I'm going to feel. And then there's others that we don't even see as maybe a standout right now. And by the end of the season, we're going to say, if this person isn't America's favorite player, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed. That's the best part about Big Brother, is we get to judge them, and judge we will, but we get to judge them based on their gameplay and not just an interview that we see before the season. But yes, we'll judge them. And I'm going to say, just like I've always done, I always said, ever since I got out, I'm going to stay positive on everything I do, because now I understand the stress. I understand how difficult it is in that house. And I'm not going to ever be too judgmental on decisions people make, whether they're good or especially if they're bad decisions, because I'll assume they're doing their best. So let's see, Wes. Ma saying a floater just has a bad connotation because floaters actually had a different meaning. Dr. Will's a floater. Yeah, and maybe it goes back to Rachel where she said, floaters grab your life vest. The idea that if you aren't focused, if you aren't dedicated to a group of people, then by God, we're gonna cut you loose. And it's easy to say if you're one of the hardcore people in that alliance and you want to get rid of the people that you may consider a little more wishy-washy in terms of loyalty. Fair enough, but there's nothing wrong. I was a little bit of a floater. I mean, I was willing to make deals with anyone to advance me one more week in the game. Now, I certainly had my loyalty. Nicole, loyal throughout and always would be, but I was also willing to float a little bit depending on who was in power and what it took. Kat called me out, said, oh, yeah, whoever's HOH, get ready. Cliff will be up there talking to you. Well, dang right, I'll be talking to you. I'll be smiling at you. I'll be shaking your hand, and I'll become your best friend for that week if that's what it takes. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with floaters. I absolutely agree. Anthony saying, why should the house guests expect the unexpected? Those out here should expect the unexpected in the cast. That's right. How boring it would be if everyone matches up with exactly what we think they're going to be like when they get in the house. Nah, we want to see the uncertainty. We want to see the people shine that no one's even paying attention to right now. Those are the ones that I'm going to be so happy and proud to get to know and everything else. And Ma's saying, but you made it, Cliff. I made it, but I had to fight all the way through. I tell you that much. I don't have the record for being on the block the most times. I think there's people like Victoria and a few others that got me beat on that. But it sure seems like I was on the block about every other week. So, you do what you have to do. You promise what you have to promise. And again, there's not a whole lot of rules in Big Brother. And so at the end of the day, you just have to do what you have to do. Kat, I am not your father. Yes, David, Kat and I had an interesting relationship. I love Kat. She's an incredible person. I don't think she's real happy with me on that particular week when she realized that I had agreed to turn on Mickey and do whatever it took to survive. And people thought I was actually willing to do it if I gave my word. I guess not so much Kat. They were a little suspect of where her true loyalties lied and lied. I don't know. And I benefited as a result of it. So yeah, I'm glad it worked out that way. Alex saying attorneys and police officers are most likely to lie about the professions for good reasons. Absolutely. Do you want to be in a final two selling yourself to the jury next to an attorney? Not a chance in the world. No way in the world. And an attorney, obviously, if they've made it to that point, they've got a certain amount of intellect, right? They can study and they can pick up the fine points and are great at studying people, analyzing people, objectively looking at a situation, there's no way I want to be competing against an attorney in there. And so, yeah, that's a question. Do you think Xavier is going to tell people that he's an attorney, or is he going to downplay it and maybe come up with some other profession? I don't know what's below that. I don't know. I don't want to say something else that maybe involves legal, but not quite carries the same fear as if you're going for the attorney. I would if I was him, but you got to be careful when you start lying about what you do, because all it takes is one slip up and suddenly people don't trust you at all. So yeah, it's going to be tough for Xavier, but I'd lie if I was him. And you're right as well. Police officers, just because we're used to assuming police officers are, they'll stare at you and burn into your soul and know everything there is about you just by looking at you. So yeah, Derek did that. What did he say? I think Derek in 16 said he worked parks and recreation outdoor manager or something like that. I remember he didn't say he was a police officer either. It's probably a good thing to do. Let's see. Moss saying, you aren't a Big Brother fan if you don't remember Anal Ice. Yeah, I kind of remember Brett, and I hated we didn't have any spelling challenges on my season, so I could come up with some kind of quirky, silly something. But oh well, yeah, I remember it. So does that make me a real fan? Colby Mead says, what was your favorite and least favorite season of Big Brother? Wow, that's a tough one, Colby. Favorite seasons? There's so many, and for so many different reasons. Season 8, because it's the first one that I watched start to finish. I love that. Now, the easy answer, my season 21 is my favorite, and I'll stick with that. But if you're talking from an unbiased standpoint, can you do that and have an opinion? Maybe not. But leaving out season 21, season 8, because it's the first one I watched, and it was so amazing, the fighting that went on, and lots of stuff that wouldn't even be tolerated nowadays. But back then, a little different world. Incredible season. I liked season 16, but maybe not for the same reason that other people did. Yeah, Derek did fantastic, but I liked watching Donnie in the house, and they just had fun in there. Season 17, I thought Vanessa was incredibly strategic. I enjoyed that. What seasons did I not enjoy as much? What season was it with Battle of the Block? Seems like there was a lot of competitions going on. You had 2 HOHs every week, and just a little harder to keep track of. I don't even remember what season that was. And that's the thing. There's no season that I've absolutely hated. There are seasons where I was like, the gameplay, like last season, season 22, a little boring, just because that Cody and his alliance were in control so much. So yeah, a little less interesting to watch. Did I hate the season? No. Was it my least favorite? Probably not. But there were still things about that season I enjoyed watching, and I could tell you that on every single season. So it's tough to rank them like that, other than putting 21 way up here and then all the rest somewhere underneath it. Let's see what else. Parker, did anyone leave during sequester before? Yeah, Parker. We've had people leave sequester in the past. We've had two this season. And what was that? There's a guy named, I keep hearing Garrett, and I don't know if that's officially it or someone just came up with that. I think it's kind of official, maybe. Garrett was replaced by Christian for reasons unknown. Maybe we'll find out later, maybe not. And then Christy was just replaced with Claire, and we're hearing that was because Christy was diagnosed with COVID. How horrible is that? Because I'm sure, sequester, she's not around anyone at all. She's been there probably forever. She said she's already been vaccinated, and yet she still manages to get COVID. Some person who had it probably touched some drink glass that somehow got delivered to her room, and next thing you know, she's missing out on a summer. I feel so sorry for her. And I was excited to watch her in the house. I thought she was going to do amazing. Now, Claire is probably going to be great too, but yeah, I'm going to miss not seeing Christy now. I thought that would have been interesting. But yeah, so we had 2 this season. I know last season, we have all heard the rumors that there were other people in sequester with COVID that didn't make it on for whatever reason. And it's just It's just rumors. Even to this date, I still don't know how much of that is official or not. But even before that, and I don't remember the seasons, but I remember there was one person who just decided that they didn't want to do Big Brother after being in sequester for a while. Said that's not for them. So they left. There was one guy in one of the very early seasons, single-digit seasons, don't remember which number, who apparently couldn't stand not being with his girlfriend. And I've heard that at one point he actually maybe knocked a hole in the wall trying to find a phone line so he could call his girlfriend. I've heard rumors that he may have jumped a balcony of some sort to get out to call his girlfriend. I don't know that any of that's official, but I've heard these little stories of a few other people that just couldn't stand it. And I got to say, the sequester was a good test for us to see how you can handle being isolated from everything. Because there's two things about that. One, you are isolated. I wasn't hearing from my wife or kids. I wasn't watching the news for the week or so I was in sequester. It was just nothing but thinking about Big Brother. And so it really is a practice, the preseason for the Big Brother game while you're in there. And it seems like I remember talking to a psychologist at one time. There is a staff psychiatrist, psychologist. I'm not sure what the difference is, but that make sure everyone is not sane, but at least on a level that'll let you survive in the house. And so I do think that probably that week or two in sequester is considered a tryout, that if anyone just can't take it in there, then I'm sure the psychologist swoops in and says, yeah, maybe we need to be looking at an alternate, something like that. So it's a good test. But the other thing, by the time you've been in sequester for a week or two, and I'm talking about by yourself, very little interaction with anyone else, it gets to the point where you're just so happy when someone brings food to you for lunch or something. You're like, oh, you're my best friend. I'm so happy to see another face out there. That any interaction, it's like being in solitary confinement in prison or something. Any interaction you start to appreciate. So after a week or two of that, suddenly you're in the Big Brother house. There's 15 other people around you. You are so happy to see anyone. I forget that you're playing Big Brother and all that. Just the pure joy of being around other people again. I think it just makes it that much more exciting for everyone in the house, which translates to everyone who's watching as well. I know when I came in there, it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen anyone in a week, and now suddenly I'm surrounded by people. They're all in my face, talking and hugging and saying hi. There's cameras all around me, and talk about 180-degree shift in your reality around you. It was incredible. All right, let's see what else. Let me look at this. Keith Franken. Keith Franken, just joining. Well, thank you, Keith. I appreciate you joining. We do it every Monday night. Now, normally we talk a lot about non-Big Brother, but not anymore. Now I really anticipate for the next few months, we'll be talking lots of Big Brother, because that's what it's all about, right? Justin Scrivener said, no TV at all during sequester. No, Justin, nothing at all. No, sir. No, sirree. No TVs, no phone, no newspapers. The only thing we got were movies. We had little old school DVD players, that a lot of people had, as kids. My kids had them as well. When you're traveling on long road trips, you have a little DVD player. You flip it up, you put your disc in there. We had those, and so we could binge a lot of movies and everything else. But yeah, nothing that involves any kind of communication whatsoever. I spent a lot of time looking out the window saying, oh man, I remember when I used to be part of the real world, and now here I am. Now here's the other thing some of y'all may not know, and I see this posted all the time on social media, talking about, I bet everyone in sequester is watching seasons of Big Brother 16. Everyone assumes that Big Brother 16 is a season that producers showed all the house guests about how to play the game, and as a result, everyone comes out and they all try to play the game like Derek in season 16. Well, I can only speak for myself. I'm not going to claim this as a blanket statement for anyone other than myself. But when I was in sequester, I had access to no Big Brother past seasons, 16, 17, 18, 19, none of them. There was no Big Brother. I may have said this before. There's no Big Brother, and there were no Hunger Games. I wanted to watch the Hunger Games just to get into the mindset of cutthroat, backstab, do what you got to do. What was it? Yeah, I wanted to watch the Hunger Games to get into the right mindset about it, me versus everyone else. But I asked, and they said, nah, Cliff, we don't have any Hunger Games either. Well, come on, guys. That perfect opportunity. Play all the blood lust type game shows on there and everything else, and get us in proper mood. But yeah, so no Big Brother while I was in sequester, which was unfortunate. I really had hoped, I thought that I'd have access to it, and I'd do a little studying last minute. Didn't do that. I watched a lot of Mad Men. I watched Mamma Mia. I watched musicals when I could, and lots of movies. You get tired of watching movies after a while. But And I know I've said this before, once you get in that house, you pay anything to watch any movie. Give me the worst movie you've ever seen in the world. And in the house, I would have watched it 4 or 5 times in a row just to have something else to watch. Lumen DB saying, howdy from Denton, Texas. Another year is upon us. Yes, indeed. Denton, Texas, home of the Mean Green. I grew up in Arlington, so I'm just down the road from you up there in Denton. So howdy, Lumen, and welcome aboard. And yes, indeed, it's now feeling like true summertime. And also, I know we had Big Brother last season in the middle of COVID. I know that. But being All-Stars, there was a part of me, it just didn't quite feel like the Big Brother. I just didn't quite have that feel for it. Maybe it's because we're so thick in the middle of COVID and worried about so many other things. But now that we're seeing, it's not over, but we're seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the pandemic. And now suddenly we get Big Brother, a season with all newbies. I just really think this is what we need right now to just get a smile on people's faces and excited and everything. It feels like summertime now that Big Brother's here. Now I say that, and I full well know that a week from now, you're going to see the most critical, mean statements being said on certain social media sites and things like that. So everyone's smiling now. Everyone's happy about the season, but give it a week and there'll be something that a whole lot of us are getting a whole lot upset about. So enjoy it while you can. But yeah, I think we need Big Brother right now, and I'm so happy to see it. Barbarella Haymaker. I love the name Barbarella. Hope they get to use the backyard. Yeah, that's interesting. And we didn't talk about that, but the fact that they now have an indoor gym is going to be really interesting because most years, and this isn't the first year they've had a gym in there. They've had it in the past a few times. They didn't have it during my season, and it drove people like Jackson Mickey crazy that they could not go out and work out in the backyard because we only had the backyard a couple of days a week. But they're going to get an indoor gym now. So for those who like to work out and everything, fantastic. 2 years ago, I sat in that boat room and sat there and talked away and got overheard. If I was on this season, it's not like I'd be sitting there on an exercise bike or underneath a weight bench and spilling all my thoughts and opinions and being overheard. So for my season, I'm kind of glad that we just had the boat room in there, another place to hang out. But for a lot of people, they're going to be super happy to have that indoor gym to work out. Now they still have the washer and dryer outdoors, so we're still going to see them having to wait until that day or two when they can wash everything and get started back up. But they're going to love having that gym out there. Gloria Antorado, really think you guys should have more than one bathroom. Yeah, I guess so. But I understand you don't want people so spread out. You want people squeezed together. You want things that may create a little conflict, a little friction between each other. And once you get an HOH, you do have the bathroom upstairs. And most people, at least during my season, most people would say, hey, feel free to come upstairs and use the bathroom if you need to. And some people, especially when there's always people downstairs talking and gossiping, and you don't always just want to say, hey, excuse me, I'm going to be 5 feet over here going to the bathroom. Y'all have fun. So lots of times people would say, yeah, I'm going to go upstairs a few times here and there where I need to and use the bathroom up there. And people, same way with the showers. People did not like to shower downstairs with people standing just on the other side of them, frosted glass and everything. Someone's asking me questions, I guess. So there are people that didn't like to, turn that off. How frustrating. People didn't like doing those showers, so they would go upstairs to the HOH room and shower and all that. I was a little, felt like I was jinxing things if I used the HOH bathroom before I was entitled to it. So I said, now I'm staying downstairs. Once I win the HOH and I'm entitled to it, then I would use the shower in the bathroom upstairs. And that's what I did. When I won HOH on day 30, from that point on, I used up there. And even after I wasn't HOH, then I felt like it was okay to go up there when I needed to or when I wanted to shower and stuff. But until I actually won the title, I wasn't touching anything upstairs. And it just made that much sweeter when I actually got it. Jeffrey Bay saying, what things bothered you that you didn't think would bother you before going in the house? Oh, I'll tell you something that bothered me a little bit was people were sometimes a little presumptuous about dinner choices and fixing dinner and things like that. Yeah, there were times where someone would say, we're fixing, not tacos, because we all enjoyed that, but we're fixing so-and-so for dinner tonight. And it's not like I'm going to gripe and say, nah, I don't want that. Let's do something else. But there were people that were very, very willing to jump right in and take control of things that maybe in the real world I would have said, hey, let me throw out a thought or two. But you can't always do that. So that's one of the things that maybe I wasn't thinking so much about. I tell you what bothered me more than anything else in that house. And I don't know if it was unexpected, because I think my family would tell you that they wouldn't expect anything but that from me. But I do know that it drove me crazy, people in the house complaining about being in the house. And I'm not going to throw out any names whatsoever. I'm just going to say there are some people sometimes say, I'm so tired of being in here. I so want to be out of the house. I'm tired of them doing this to us. I'm tired of not getting beer and alcohol or whatever. I was in there the whole time saying, yeah, I'd love to see my wife and kids, but I know I'm going to see them on down the road. I'm going to value every single day I've got in this house, and I'm not going to go out of here until they drag me out or they give me a check for $500K. Well, unfortunately, it was the former rather than the latter that happened, but I wasn't going to ever complain too much about being upset I was in the house. Not everyone was in the same mindset. Some people were not always so happy. Now, I'm sure they didn't want to leave, but still not so happy all the time. Angie saying that was Julie asking Cliff to go into the house. Yeah, that was, well, yeah. If Julie calls me right now, give me 5 minutes. Well, I don't know. I don't even need to pack my bags. I'm good enough as is. I'll just get me on a plane. If there's not a plane, I'll drive overnight, and I can drive pretty fast if it's going to the Big Brother house. So, all right, guys. I hate to do it because I feel like we could talk for another hour or so, but it is 8 o'clock. I'm going to shut it down. I am, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing the Cliff Notes live, not Cliff Notes live, the Cliff Notes recap every morning that I can get to it. Starting, it sounds like we're going to get live feeds starting Wednesday night. So from Thursday on, y'all check it out. Same YouTube channel, different time, same YouTube channel, but yeah, I'm going to try to give just a little quick 15-minute recap. There are people out here that will talk for 3 or 4 hours. They'll talk longer analyzing what happened overnight than the time period that actually occurred overnight. That's not me. I'll give y'all a 15-minute recap, enough that you can amaze your friends with your breadth of knowledge from the night before and give you a few opinions and everything. So y'all check it out, and we'll talk some more about that. But in the meanwhile, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. I know you will, and I know I am as well. I'm so excited. Doing my little dancing. I'm so happy for everyone that's going into this house. They get to experience what I experienced, and I'm so happy for each and every one of them. Enjoy it while they can, because pretty soon some people are going to start getting upset, and someone's going to go home, and their journey will end too soon. But it's going to be fun watching everyone experience the game. It's going to be fun watching them. Guys, y'all have a great one. SKD143. Love my wife. Love my kids. Love the other reality fans out there. Love the Big Brother fans especially. And I love the people that are putting themselves out there to go into this house, to expose themselves 24/7 to all kinds of everything that goes along with being on the Big Brother. You got to have thick skin. And they obviously have it. And I'm going to be cheering each and every one of them on. Guys, y'all have a great night. I'll talk to y'all in a couple of days. Cheers, my friends. Bye.